Hey guys, before we get in the video, I really quickly want to talk about my Patreon page, which is linked down in the description below. Patreon is an awesome way for you to support me as a content creator, so I can create higher quality content more often, for as little as $1 a month. You're also able to receive some pretty awesome rewards in the process. For example, shout out on Instagram, priority ride in a GTR if you see me at a meet, extra entries into my giveaways, and more. So if you want to help support me as a content creator and also support my future build, be sure to click the link down in the description below and check it out. Now enjoy the video. Alright guys, it's a beautiful Sunday evening here in Houston, and so I thought it'd be a cool idea to go out and make a video for you guys talking about updates related to my car and also updates related to me possibly having to move from Houston, because there are updates in both categories and my cat wants attention. So I thought I'd take the opportunity to use this nice day to go out, show you guys my rental, and then it's nothing impressive. Don't hold your breath over this rental. It's literally just a Nissan Sentra. But show it to you guys, and then we can also possibly head over to that spot that I recorded my last video talking about me having to move from Houston. So that way I can let you guys know the full story, the updates on the GTR as well as me possibly having to move from Houston. But before I do that, I want to make a quick mention of something. So because of this shelter in place and this quarantine stuff, which technically ended, but I'm still trying to be as safe as possible because it's still a threat, still a possibility, or still could be an issue. I have been getting more into streaming. So I used to be big in streaming a long time ago, back in college actually, and I kind of got out of it after college, so I'm kind of getting back into it. So if you guys at all like gaming and you like streams on Twitch, be sure to check out the link in the description below for my Twitch stream. I honestly feel like it's something I was pretty good at. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and brag because that's not the type of person that I am, but I really did enjoy streaming. I had a lot of fun, and there were times where I had a really good time streaming and interacting with people, and so I'm trying to revive that a little bit. So if you are at all interested, check out the link in the description, maybe toss me a follow and pop by one of my streams. I typically stream at night, so I've been trying to do that. We'll see what happens. Let's head out and show you guys the rental. Oh God, well, here she is. This is the beautiful Nissan Sentra SV. Beautiful gray color. Absolutely fantastic. Just looks so sexy. I mean, running those 205s in the front. Oh man, those things are absolutely stunning on this beautiful car. And then let's check out the interior. I mean, a couple little pieces of garbage, that's okay, but it looks amazing in here. I can't. Okay, it's a Nissan Sentra. It is what it is. Let's see how loud this thing is. This is a cold start. Hasn't been started all day. Oh wow, super quiet. Super hot in here. So the funny thing about this car is this is obviously being paid for by Geico, by the guy's insurance. And when the guy dropped it off, he saw on the thing on his phone, his device, that I had a GTR, that I had a GTR that was crashed, and so this was my rental for it. And so he asked me about it. He's like, "Oh, you have a GTR?" I was like, "Yeah." And so he was like, "Well, this is a 2019 Nissan Sentra, not quite as fast as a GTR," which was pretty funny. But then he was showing me around the vehicle and then got in to check the mileage beforehand, just so I can verify that he put the correct mileage and that everything looked fine. And so when he started the car up, I was like, "It's not as loud as a GTR either." And when I said that, he proceeds to rev the car, which this is the rev. That's a beautiful rev. So he revs it up and gets this goofy grin on his face, and I'm just laughing because that was absolutely hilarious. But it's a good car. I mean, it averages 32.6 miles per gallon, front wheel drive. Not too much to complain about it. It's just slow. That's about it. It's like 140 crank horsepower, something like that. So yeah, it is what it is. But I'm gonna head over to the spot to record the video, and then I'm gonna grab some lunch after because I'm starving. This is actually a really cool spot. Like, I do like it here, and it's kind of cool that they have this little grassy area where you can go out and play. They have some extra grass parking here. I do like this spot. I don't know why this church is literally always empty, even outside of the coronavirus. So Just kind of a cool area. All right, so update time. So I've got updates on both my GTR and me moving, and I kind of just want to share that with you. There's nothing that's finalized for either of them yet, but there have been some updates since the last video, and I have a lot of people asking about myself in the car, and so I want to just make a video so that way people can be up to date, at least to as much as I know on May 3rd. So let's start with me moving. In the video where I talked about me moving, I mentioned a couple things about how I was looking to move to Philadelphia, and if not, then Portland, and so those were kind of the two areas that I was focusing on. Well, I got some really bad news right around the time that I actually got in the car accident, that the Portland facility is not hiring at all. So, well, the 3 facilities. So there's 3 facilities there, and none of them are hiring. They're all in the same division, and the division had just called for a major reduction in force. And so as a result, they weren't looking to hire anybody, similarly to how the Houston facility wasn't. And so it kind of narrowed it down to where Philadelphia was kind of the only option for me at the time. And so I started reaching out and applying to other facilities, interviewing with other facilities. And so I've tried to expand that a little bit, but it looks like Portland will not be a possibility. And because I haven't heard back from the Philadelphia location, I'm going to take a bet that they offered to the other guy because he was already there. I mean, it makes logical sense that they would offer it to him. And so I'm willing to hazard a bet that they did offer him. And so if he does accept that, then he's going to have that position. If he doesn't, then they'll offer it to me after, but they only have another 12 days before the complete cutoff. Actually, sorry, they only have another 8 days before the complete cutoff for making offers. And then I have to make a decision by May 15th. And so my guess is he's probably already accepted the offer, or if he hasn't, he's going to very soon. And so that's probably not a possibility. But I did interview with PCC Auburn, which is in Auburn, Washington, just south of Seattle. And it went really well. I haven't gotten an offer from them yet, but based on the interviews that I've been having and the facilities that I've been talking to, that one seems to be the most attractive to me in terms of what I would be doing there, as well as the development plan that they put in place for whoever takes the position there out of the program. And so there absolutely is a position there, and to my knowledge, I'm not competing with anybody in the program. There absolutely isn't a DP, a graduating person from the program, at the facility right now. And so that's not a possibility. I'm not in competition with them, but I could be in competition with someone else that's applying for the position. I'm not made aware of anybody that is, so it seems fairly likely. And the way the interview ended, he did say you should be hearing from us soon, which sounds very promising, so I could be receiving an offer, but it definitely sounds very appealing. And so as it stands right now, I would say there's probably a 90% likelihood that I will be moving to the Seattle area within the next couple months. And there's a side part of that. So the end of my rotation is the beginning of July, but because I'm not able to use vacation days right now, I'm looking to potentially use my vacation days at the end of my rotation, so that way I can essentially leave Houston a little bit early, and then wherever I'm going to, move in a little early there, and then, you know, maybe make a trip out of it or something, make it a cooler road trip. I know that's kind of sad for the people in Houston that I'm wanting to leave a little bit early. It wouldn't be that much early. It'd be like a week early, maybe a week and a half early at most, but that's kind of what I'm looking to do, to be able to possibly, if I'm moving to Seattle, see my family or something like that. But yeah, I mean, right now it's really looking like it. There's no places that are hiring outside of the places that I'm applying to. I really don't want to take a crappy job here in Houston just to stay in Houston, because I do want to keep the GTR. I want to keep modding the GTR. And what's really cool is the development plan that they built for me at this facility would have me becoming a controller by the age of as early as 28, but likely between 28 and 30 years old, which is really young for a controller. And if I become a controller, then I absolutely would be making the money that's necessary to build the GTR up to probably 1400 wheel horsepower pretty quick. And so it is kind of the pathway that I would want to go down that would help me with my dream of owning a really, really fast GTR, and then being able to focus on other things outside of that. So there are pros and cons to that, but the Seattle area is cool. After talking to some people, there's a good car scene there. The cops aren't complete assholes when it comes to modifications, so it kind of sounds perfect, as well as the Auburn area is, I want to say, like 3 to 3.5 hours from 3.5 hour drive from where I grew up, where my parents spend some of their time and where my extended family is. And so that way I would be able to see them a lot more often, whereas right now I live 2,000 miles away, and last year I lived 3,000 miles away from them, so I barely ever saw them. So that's kind of cool on top of that. But that's kind of the updates with that. Nothing is set in stone. I'll probably post something to my story when I finally make a decision on Instagram, but it's really looking like, assuming I get an offer at this PCC Auburn facility, that I will move there, as well as there are other facilities around there, so if they don't offer, I might go to one of these other facilities as well. So I'd say there's a pretty high likelihood that I'll be moving to the Seattle area within the next couple of months, which is cool, but I would like to move my way back here to this beautiful state of Houston. Beautiful state of Texas, beautiful city of Houston. I am smart. I'm a little bit smart. I know that, but that's kind of the hope. So that's really the update for me moving. I will say that at this point, I'm pretty much gonna move. Like, there's not really any chance that something's gonna pop up between now, and I have to make a decision by May 15th. I'm not gonna take unemployment. I am not going to risk unemployment to stay in Houston. So I will be taking a position at some point. I'm sorry that I have to disappoint you guys. I'm disappointed as well. I promise you, it's just as tough for me to have to move from Houston as it is to let you guys know that I am moving from Houston, but it is what it is. Now on to the GTR. So there is some good news with that. So basically, after some quick evaluation from the Shop Houston of the damage, they don't think there's anything too terribly extensive. They don't think there's anything that would take a long time to repair. That's the important thing. So I should be getting my car back before too terribly long. And the original estimate from Geico had it just barely shy of $10,000 for the repair. However, that being said, that was purely for the cosmetic for all the damage that you saw from the video of the back of my car. It does not include any damage underneath. And when he sent the email with the estimate, he literally said, he basically said, I totally expect there to be more damage underneath. I totally expect there to be a supplemental estimate, something on top of this original $10,000. This is just based on what I can see from the pictures. So they're totally aware that there could be more damage, and there likely is more damage once you look more extensively, once a shop look actually looks underneath, because my car, you can only tell so much from the outside. And so they sent the original estimate to me as well as to the Shop Houston, and then they also sent a check, and the check hasn't arrived as of today, but it probably should arrive in the next day or two, because it's just a check being sent through the mail. Once the Shop Houston receives the check, then I have to drive over there. I have to endorse the check so that way they can deposit it, and then they can officially start working on the car. From that point, it shouldn't be too terribly long. If it is just the damage that was seen on the car, then I'm thinking it would probably be less than 2 weeks until I see my car again, maybe a week to 2 weeks probably. So that's the hope. The only thing that could cause a wrinkle is the supplemental estimates. And so that's where there can be an issue where the shop sees that something is damaged underneath, and they're like, hey, this is damaged, this is how much it's gonna cost. Geico, being an insurance company, they're obviously going to fight back and say, there's no way it's gonna cost that much. And so from that point, it'll be some battle back and forth. However, once again, this thing that I'm sitting in is kind of leverage for myself and the Shop Houston, because the longer that they fight back and forth, the longer that this rental stays in my possession, the longer that Enterprise is charging Geico for said rental. And so no matter what, as long as I have this rental, it will be a battle back and forth between the Shop Houston and Geico. And Geico will be more willing to cede some, because the longer that this stays out, the more money they're paying regardless. And so they might as well just agree to it and then get me on my way with the car and just, call it even. And so the hope is that I hope to have my car within a month at least, just simply because of the damage that I see and the sort of assumption that there's some damage underneath, but there's only so much that can be said without actually taking the car apart. And so once the check arrives, I endorse it, it's deposited, and they start the work, then I'll really truly get an idea, because they'll be able to look at my car and tell me, hey, it's gonna take this long, it's gonna take this long, it should take this long. This is how much we expect of a supplemental estimate. If there is no supplemental estimate, then you know, I should be expecting it back probably within a week or two, and then that's really not that bad. So that's basically the update on the car. And in the meantime, I'm saving plenty of money by driving this thing because this thing literally gets 32 miles per gallon, and they gave it to me at 3/4 of a tank, and I've used less than an 1/8 of a tank in like a week. So it's good mileage, plus I barely drive it, so I'm saving money on that. I just miss being able to full throttle it and actually being thrown back in my seat and not just kind of sitting there like, where's the power? So it is what it is, but those are basically the two main updates that I have for myself and the car. It's been a shitty situation for everything with my car and with moving. I really didn't want my car to be crashed into. I really wish I didn't have to be doing this, and I really wish I didn't have to be moving from Houston, but things go as they go. I can't change it, it's in the past, and so I just kind of got to focus on the future. I might use the opportunity, like I said, with my car in the shop to maybe do 1 or 2 small things, but nothing major. So that kind of is what it is. If you guys have any questions, you know, feel free to comment down below and I should be able to respond. The best way to contact me though is absolutely through Instagram. I don't really like using the YouTube app on my phone. It's not as user-friendly as something like Instagram, and so if you do really want to get in contact with me with something, my Instagram is always linked down in the description below, and you know, feel free to check out my Instagram and just send me a DM. I respond to pretty much every DM that I get, so that's the best way to get in contact with me. Other than that, I'm just gonna enjoy my last month or so here in Houston, and then kind of go from there. So thank you guys for watching. Be sure to comment, rate, and subscribe, and as always, have a nice day.